This is Atomic Shinobi and today I'm going to narrate second and final part of What If World Demon Kakashi travel back in time for Fem-Naruto. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no time, let's start the story.
Both Naruto and Sasuke, who were moving at the same pace and were of the same color because of the irregularity of their previous training, were breathing loudly as they fought to lift their feet off the ground. "Teme, you can't defeat me," Naruto beckoned to Sasuke. Sasuke glared at Naruto, saying, "Shut up, Usuratankachi." Their fading green color was beginning to fade further, and Naruto grinned and accelerated her pace as the 45 pounds she was carrying on both legs caused her legs to ache. "Can't stop till I am at 50 pounds, she said. Kakashi shouted, "All right, folks, relax." Kakashi. "Sensei, however, I'm nearly done," Naruto objected. "Are you certain you want to jerk your muscles now?" said Kakashi. Kakashi commanded Naruto to take a 10-minute break. Naruto sulked and stumbled to where Kakashi was. Sakura arrived at Sasuke's location and said, "Nay, Sasuke-kun, does the color of your weights indicate that you're nearly finished?" HN. Sakura overheard Kakashi and Naruto discussing something, and she blushed when she nearly started a conversation. "It's only 10 minutes, Naru," Kakashi remarked. "It's not forever. I don't want any of you to get hurt, especially while you're training." "Thanks, Kakashi. Sensei, but why are you training us now, I mean, this entire week?" Naruto sighed. "When we first started our missions, you didn't train for this. We do have plenty of free time, and I would like to get you all ready for some future battles," he answered. "You never know when you need it." "Yes, I suppose that is possible. In any case, I'm dying for some ramen." The abrupt shift in subject made Kakashi perspire. After all, Naruto was Naruto. After Naruto lit up and Sasuke and Sakura ran across the field, Kakashi remarked, "I guess that at about 10 minutes already, you guys could run now. That'll keep them busy for some time." After 15 minutes as the 50-pound threshold was reached, Sasuke and Naruto gasped. "Ha, Teme, your butt was beaten by me." Although they both finished at the same time, Sakura was still on the running field, growing weary as she neared the end of her run, thinking, "I'm always the last one." Sasuke inhaled deeply through his mouth and nose, too tired to snide back at Naruto. When Naruto noticed Sakura running by herself, he removed her weights and placed them beside Sasuke. Thinking, "Wow, I feel so light," she ran to Sakura's location and said, "Hey, Sakura-chan, do you want to go for a run with me?" Sakura grinned at Naruto's generosity, saying, "Yes, Naruto." Sakura thought, "I wonder why I was always so mean to Naruto. I'll be more nice in the future," in response to the statement. "Yes, Sakura-chan, no issue." Sakura had finished using her weights by the time Naruto and she ran for some 10 more minutes. Day 7 we are going to do a team building activity today. Kakashi stated, "I'll be your opponent, but I'll go easy on you guys. Unlike last time. This will demonstrate how much you have improved with this week's training." The thought of Day 4's training made Sasuke shudder. Kakashi went on to say, "Be sure to use the techniques carefully and well thought out. This will also serve as a test to determine who is in the best condition, which includes knowing when to use each jutsu, how to use their chakra wisely, and so forth. You understand?" Everyone nodded, and Kakashi commanded, "Start." When Sakura remembered that a medic.nin should never be injured in combat, she realized that Naruto and Sasuke were on either side of her. Sasuke nodded to Naruto when a kunai was thrown at her. He hit it out of its place. "Over there," Naruto said as she threw 5 shuriken from the direction the offending kunai was deflected from. When a set of 8 shuriken were flung back towards Sakura, Sasuke pulled a kunai from his pouch and stood guard in front of her. "He moved?" Sasuke asked. When Naruto threw 6 shuriken and yelled, "Cage shuriken no just," Sasuke anticipated her next move. According to Kaden Gobikyu no Jutsu, Sasuke and Naruto's justice worked together to burn the tree. Not enough, Sasuke thought. Over there, alerted, Naruto sprang out of the path of a projectile. Sakura pulled out her kunai and placed it in a protective position. For 40 more minuets, this battle continued. Great teamwork, team. To point things out specifically, Naruto and Sasuke, great job on protecting Sakura, who is your medic.nin. Sakura, I see that you have mastered healing technique. Although the blue medic sphere is a bit small, it did heal Naruto's and Sasuke's small wounds, said Kakashi. Kakashi rubbed the area of his left arm where Naruto had struck him and added, Also, Naruto, you're excelling on clone body blow. You have also thought more into your attacks, making them more fatal. Sasuke, you use your Sharingan smoothly and efficiently. You almost got me there in your genjutsu. Kakashi said. Kakashi then went to tomorrow's plans. Tomorrow, we'll all accompany Tazuna to the largest pier in Wave. I cannot be for sure that everything will be just fine, but I have predicted that someone will try to harm the bridge's construction. Be sure to get ready for anything. Naruto swallowed sharply. Following the completion of the agenda, Team 7 returned to Tazuna's house for dinner. Within the house following dinner, Kakashi asked Tazuna for an update on Wave and the company. Tazuna replied, "Times are much more tougher than before. I can't get out of my own house, walking in my own village, and work without me feeling that someone's gonna kill me. I just don't know what to do. The grocery prices are going up and there are more homeless people out on the streets than ever before. I'm just unsure about how my company's doing. Maybe I should just close down for business." Don't give up now, Dadbeo. When you start something, that means you gotta finish it. Especially since the many promises you made to make this country prosperous again, the many sacrificed. It's for sure that you can't back down now, Naruto yelled. Thanks, kiddo, said Tazuna, ruffling her hair, and you're right. You're not that hard to deal with anymore. Naruto grinned broadly. What exactly do you do in your company, Tazuna-san? Kakashi inquired. Tazuna smiled proudly. Here in Wave, shipment is a crucial part in our daily lives. Because of our geography, which is the ocean, we can easily go by boat, which I also build, making us quite prosperous. The gloomy moon disappeared as Tazuna went on. Did you know that half of the male population in Wave works in the shipment company? However, this number dwindled to about a fifth because of Gato's scammed monopoly, he spat. Naruto reassured him, it's okay, old man. Gato's butt will get it when I find him. Ya know what, kiddo? You're starting to be less bratty than before. Tazuna gave a compliment. She asked, is that supposed to be a compliment? Kakashi cut it in again, say, Tazuna-san. I heard from last time that an assigned shinobi was supposed to be here for a mission. My question is, what for and what would have probably happened in the future? To be honest, the shinobi was here to help me with a little project in mind. I was actually going to build a bridge from Wave to our surrounding countries. That shinobi was supposed to bring me documents on how to build a bridge. See, because I am a professional builder of boats, I was confident that I could construct a bridge that would be noticed from all of the lands. Tazuna admitted. Keep going, Kakashi said. For the future, I'm not exactly sure what to say. But if I did, I would probably hire a team from Konoha to protect me still, just like now. I also would have fronted that I was the most famous bridge builder from all of the lands. But I'm pretty sure that this is all false because it just seems fictional. Tazuna chuckled. How ironic, Kakashi chuckled sarcastically with him. Naruto had dark bags under her eyes when she woke up. She cursed as she surveyed the space. They had abandoned her, and the room had been demolished once more. With a loud sigh, she went to the bathroom to get ready. She heard Tsunade scream in fear from downstairs as she put on her jumpsuit. Naruto hurriedly changed before leaping from the staircase. She carefully considered the situation while hiding behind a wall. While Inari was crying from beneath the table, two samurai held Tsunade captive. Naruto's words were repeated to him inside by Inari. You little sissy. You should just keep crying, you fool. Inari noticed his mother's face, the strong and determined expressions on Team 7's faces, and his grandfather's. There were also encouraging remarks, such as, Naruto's been alone all her life, she must already be tired of crying. Get away from my mommy, Inari decided. The samurai swung their swords and yelled, man, we should have killed this brat before. When Tsunade saw the samurai swinging their swords, she screamed in fear, Inari. When Inari was replaced by a tiny, wooden stump, she swiftly erased her thought that it was the end. Narrowing her eyes, Naruto took action. A shadow clone she swiftly created attacked the two captivates. Naruto rushed to Inari's location to console him while the clone was doing that. I'm sorry, Chan, I shouldn't have said that yesterday, Inari wept. What? Spluttered Naruto. Concerned for Naruto's welfare, Inari read from a book on human emotions, and said, remember I told you about your harsh childhood? I'm sorry I reopened some wounds. I don't know half the stuff you're saying, but I'll accept your apology anyways. Don't cry over spilt milk. Now's not the time to apologize. Inari used the lower portion of his shirt to dab at his tears. Sniffling, he shifted into a more assured position. The criminal snarled at him as he assisted his mother in getting up. She firmly bound them after Naruto's clone easily battered them. As she left her clone with Inari and Tsunami, Naruto smiled at the pairs. After giving Inari the thumbs up, she moved on to the bridge. As they both rushed for victory, Sasuke's and Haku's kunai clashed. This kid can keep up with Haku's speed rather effectively, Zabuza concluded. I don't want to have to kill you, but you won't give in, will you? Haku said to Sasuke while wearing a mask. Calling back, Sasuke said, not to anyone. Haku narrowed his eyes. I already have two advantages that will defeat you. First, there's water on the ground, and second, I have one of your arms occupied. What does that matter when you have one arm occupied by me? Haku grinned. Now he was reciting seals with his left hand. Sasuke's eyes grew wide. One-handed seals? I'm still impressed by that, Kakashi reflected. Flying water needles, exclaimed Haku. Needles as sharp as senbon were created when water from the floor emerged and evaporated to capture her. They were dispatched to puncture Sasuke's flesh. When Sasuke was told to concentrate chakra to the legs, they were launched into the air, thereby avoiding the needles. Then he hurled shuriken at Haku, who ducked away. Haku stated quite bluntly, you're pretty slow. Behind Haku, Sasuke uttered the words, you should eat your own words. Then, holding a kunai in his hand, Sasuke backstabs Haku, causing his wounds to bleed profusely. That kid beat Haku in speed, Zabuza said in shock. Don't underestimate my brats by calling them brats, Kakashi told Zabuza with a charming smile. Sasuke's Konoha's #1 rookie of the year. Sakura is the most brightest in the village. And Naruto, who's not here yet, is the show-off, hyperactive, #1 loudest ninja in the village. That's correct. Inner. Sakura exclaimed. Haku exclaimed, special jutsu. Demonic ice mirrors. Sasuke surveyed his surroundings, which included ice mirrors arranged in a dome. Haku didn't hesitate long before composing his attack. Every mirror had a reflection of Haku. Then, with senbon in hand, the reflections began to leap from mirror to mirror. There were gash marks on Sasuke. Except for Kakashi, Sasuke had never encountered a stronger opponent than Haku. He moved into a ready stance and swiftly used his dojutsu. So this is the Uchiha orphan, Haku said, narrowing his eyes from inside the mirrors. Uchiha. Huh. I'm guessing that you'll be a worthy opponent for me, he said out loud. He must be a worthy opponent for you, Haku, Zabuza said, smiling with his shark teeth from outside the area where the demonic ice mirrors overhead indicated that Sasuke was a Uchiha. He has been following you for a while. The courteous Haku said, of course, Zabuza-san. Sasuke was thinking of a way out of the ice mirrors when Naruto slid in and grunted, I've come to save you, Teme. If you were going to save me, why didn't you do it outside the mirrors? Sasuke's eye twitched. You're a true dobi. Teme. Shut up. How are we going to escape this mirror thingy now? Trying not to sneer back, Sasuke narrowed his eyes and said, let's try our collaboration. Yes, fire is superior to ice. Nice idea, Teme, she said complimentarily. She narrowed her eyes as Sasuke ignored her and prepared his hand signals. Naruto retreated for more throwing distance, and Sasuke enlightened a fireball through which Naruto hurled 40 shurikens. The ice only sustained minor scratches. The scratch marks vanished after a few seconds, rendering the mirrors nearly impregnable, and Haku seized the opportunity to leap through them, directing senbon at the two Konoha genin. In an attempt to eliminate the incoming senbon, Naruto and Sasuke swiftly destroyed kunai. Eventually, the projectiles from Naruto's side ceased and were directed only at Sasuke. Naruto swiftly noticed that a huge quantity of senbon was coming from all of Sasuke's blind spots. She responded equally fast. Sasuke, be careful. When Sasuke turned around, he saw Naruto in a heap of blood, her neck pierced in all directions, causing her to gurgle blood, and deep stab marks etched throughout her body, preventing her from moving at all. Sasuke ran to Naruto and knelt down to feel her pulse, but there was none. I hated you, but I guess my body just moved on its own. I had my Sharingan active. If I were faster, Naruto wouldn't have D. He began to exhale loudly, refusing to think negatively because the grief he was holding inside was too great. Yo. You stupid dobi. My true name was even mentioned. It was wrong of you to block them. When Kakashi's heart began to tremble, he tried to ignore the pain by latching a hand over it, but it didn't work. He then ducked under a torrent of water. In a hurry, he called his dogs to hold Zabuza. She has been dead in this dome for not even 15 minutes. Haku said in monotone, this is all for Zabuza-san. even though all I feel in my heart is grief. Sasuke's eyes literally turned red because his left eye now had 3 tomos. He was able to see things more clearly than before because he could now see how each weapon and jutsu worked. When he yelled, "Genjutsu! Sharingan!" In order to make the jutsu visible, he reflected his eye in the mirror, which caused it to be reflected by all the mirrors. Haku was struck, unconscious, and plunged into a nightmare world where he was reliving his past. When shards of ice fell from the ceiling of the dome, Sasuke protected Naruto's body, and for the first time in his post-massacre life, he felt retribution for someone other than his brother. The entire jutsu collapsed with Haku. It was going to go to Haku. After approaching Haku's unconscious state and roughly carrying him, Sasuke went to where Kakashi and Zabuza were and yelled, "I'll kill him." Zabuza attempted to stop himself from killing Sasuke by saying, "I don't care, kiddo." But Sasuke then roughly threed Haku onto the hard concrete floor, causing Haku to lose some blood. In any case, he was only a pawn. I can always take his place. Sasuke ran onto Haku and said, "Suit yourself." However, he stopped when he heard a voice. "I see that Zabuza is cornered. It's unfortunate that your little apprentice is also down. I also believe that you guys claim to be the best, and the best should undoubtedly be able to defeat everyone." "I must be mistaken," Gato remarked mockingly. "What are you doing here with an army?" Zabuza asked, his eyes narrowing. "Oh, I will simply eliminate the best. I would have killed you sooner if I had known you were just a talker. It wasn't as if I would give you money." Putting his foot on Haku's head, Gato approached his unconscious body and said, "Hey, he's dead. Or I think he is." Kakashi was aware that Zabuza's hand was gripping, and when the dogs were called back, Zabuza was released with bloody bite marks and stood motionless, waiting for his final straw to be broken. Gato stabbed Haku's left arm with his cane, saying, "Ha, well done. This is retaliation for breaking my left arm the last time." Gato kept hitting Haku, causing him to get bruises and blood on his body. Zabuza was furious, so he grabbed a kunai from the ground and sank it between his teeth before running quickly to Gato, who was attempting to kill Haku. By the time Gato saw Zabuza, he had already been killed, and his severed head was rolling on the pier with his eyes rolled back into his head. "Our meal ticket was destroyed by you." When Zabuza noticed the paid thugs behind him, he sped through the crowd with the kunai in his mouth, killing a fifth of the samurai. However, before Zabuza could kill any more, the thugs stabbed him with spears through his arms and legs. Kakashi removed Zabuza from his death before more damage could be done. "Why?" Zabuza inquired. After recalling Naruto's previous statement to Haku, "Under different circumstances, we might have become friends," Kakashi responded, "Because of a promise." "How about the audience? Another one will come in another 9 seconds to protect Wave." "All right, Kakashi. I'd like to see Haku." Kakashi put Zabuza down beside Haku and said, "Sure. I wouldn't have allowed you to come here if I had known that you would have fallen in this manner. You see, you weren't just a pawn to me. You were like family." "I apologize," Zabuza said in sorrow. Emerging from unconsciousness, Haku grinned and said, "It's okay, Zabuza-san." Zabuza's eyes widened. "What are you up to? I believed you were dead." With a blush of embarrassment etched on his pale face, Zabuza quickly sat up. "I'm very happy that you care, Zabuza-san. Nothing too fatal, but what about Haku?" Zabuza asked, ignoring him as he lay back down and taking the spears from his arms and legs. "He looks fine, except for the stab wound and bruises," Zabuza said, glancing at Haku. "Come here, Sakura and Tazuna," Kakashi said, glancing at both of them. They both dutifully arrived. Sakura heals Zabuza first, then Haku. But there is no time to delay. Both may bleed to death in due time. The mystical palm technique can now be applied to actual people, not just fish. Simply bandaging their wounds will promote a more natural healing process. Sakura agreed, saying, "Darn, he caught me. Thank you for this opportunity, Kakashi-sensei." Zabuza and Haku were both thinking, did he just call us lab rats? Sakura used the healing technique on Haku's bruises after closing Zabuza's wounds in 15 minutes and Haku's wounds in 5 minutes. Haku said, "Thank you." Sakura grinned understandingly and nodded as she heard a cheer from the audience. Sakura turned to see Sasuke scowling at her, and since it was standard procedure for him, she shrugged her shoulders. With a proud smile, Inari ran to Sakura and exclaimed, "Where is Naruto? Ni-chan?" With a worried expression, Sakura asked Sasuke, "Do you know where Naruto is? Sasuke-kun?" Inari gave her a disapproving look and sighed in disappointment. Sakura didn't want to consider the worst until she saw the condition of Naruto's body, but the small amount of emotion on Sasuke's face told her everything. Something terrible had happened to Naruto. Naruto. Sakura ran with tears in her eyes as she quickly activated mystical palm technique. Tazuna looked as guilty and grieved as Sasuke at the moment he saw the condition of Naruto's limp body. Her hands stopped glowing. Darn it, no more chakra. Running down, Inari exclaimed, Nay. Chan, I can't cry, I can't cry, I can't cry, Nay. Chan, our promise. I can't cry. Inari bit his lip in an attempt to stop himself from crying, but instead he made his lip bleed and his face was covered in tears and snot. Is this the feeling of care? Sasuke asked himself, shaking his head, trying to shake off the feeling. I don't need to include people in my ambition. He had never felt so guilty in his life, as if every fiber of his body was being torn apart from head to toe. He turned his back on the scene of regret, and Sasuke bit his lip to contain his tears. I hope they're okay, Kakashi said, wandering away from Zabuza and Haku to find his students. His soul eye widened, his mouth gaped, his entire body trembled, and he began to hug himself while his teeth chattered, as if he were cold. But Kakashi abruptly collapsed when he saw Naruto sprawled out onto the floor with senbon pierced throughout her body. Rewind from his microphone, Shikamaru yelled, there appears to be a body here. Why don't you just leave it alone, Roger? It's normal, Kakashi retorted. No, I'll go check it out, it feels familiar. Shikamaru yelled, Nah. Naruto. As Kakashi reduced the volume a bit because his microphone was a little staticky. What? Kakashi demanded to know the location, and when he arrived, he was devastated to see Naruto sprawled out on the floor, her body slashed with slash marks and bruises. After running to her and pushing everyone aside, Kakashi touched her cold, lifeless skin and his heart paused for what felt like an eternity. His mate was dead. Why isn't Kurama healing her? Why is she so cold? He asked, his teeth chattering as he tried to warm Naruto, as if she were about to resurrect, to prevent her from going cold. You should know this than most of us, Kakashi, Shikamaru said, shaking his head and attempting to contain his tears as he attempted to distance Kakashi from the now dead Naruto. Since he was now a lifeless entity without his mate, Kakashi shook as if he were cold. Final flashback with her face drenched in perspiration, Naruto awoke in Tazuna's guest room and exclaimed, What? What happened? After that, Naruto was surrounded by bodies embracing her. Tsunade, Sakura, and Inari all sobbed on her as though she had passed away. Sakura was the first to say, Why, you stupid baka? I believed you were dead. On Naruto's shoulder, Sakura sobbed. Does that mean you're my friend, Sakura-chan? Naruto asked with a shy smile. Sakura gave Naruto a light punch, saying, I assumed we were already friends? Naruto smiled toothily despite his shock. Inari came next, saying, Nay. Chan. He wiped his face and sniffed, saying, I told you I wouldn't cry. He also let out a cry for Naruto. Oh, don't worry, Inari. It's okay to cry at times like this, Naruto reassured Inari, ruffling his hair. Then it was Tsunade's turn. Naruto-chan, after you were hurt, I assumed I wouldn't have a kitchen partner. I was so worried about you. On Naruto's other shoulder, she sobbed. You will never have a kitchen partner like me. I assure you. The best of the best is me. She said arrogantly, hoping to lighten the atmosphere, and it succeeded when everyone grinned and wiped away their tears. He calls me, Grandpa, now, Tazuna said with a smile. This little girl changed everyone's perspective of her in a matter of days. She's the one who changed Inari into a better person. Everyone left the room as Sasuke approached Naruto. I'm sorry, Dobi, he said, blushing slightly. Naruto said, Teme, don't worry. In any case, I wanted to do that. That is the purpose of friends. She gave him a sincere smile, and when an invisible flush came out of his cheeks, Sasuke held his breath for a moment before grinning slightly and telling Naruto, I'll let it go just for today. Oh yeah, Teme, I was meaning to say this, but where is Kakashi? Sensei? Naruto asked, surveying the room. He said that he would go to a meadow or something to cool his mind, Sasuke replied. I can't say for sure, though. Oh, Teme, thank you. Please cover for me, and she leapt out of the window. Sasuke scowled at the spot where Naruto had just gone. That Usuratomkachi, he muttered to himself. Stupid civilian clothes. Naruto was running through the trees wearing simple girl civilian clothes when a branch sliced through her leg. The wound healed almost immediately. She discovered a silver head in the meadow, and as she jumped and lay down beside him, Naruto crept up on her. Kakashi was too busy staring at the clouds to notice him, so she growled and said, "That cloud kind of looks like ramen." "Yes, Kakashi. Sensei, doesn't it?" When he heard Naruto's voice, Kakashi turned quickly to see her grinning cheekily at him. He gaped, but then a slow smile came to his face, and Naruto's heartbeat quickened. It was such a sincere smile. Kakashi was brought back to life by the warmth that filled his entire being and that he desperately wanted to share. He wanted her to realize how much he loved her, so he seized her in his arms and held her against his beating heart. Despite her ignorance, Naruto never understood his feelings, but she returned his embrace. Naruto realized their position and attempted to leave, but Kakashi simply said, "Please, just for right now, I need a real hug." He nuzzled her head and held on tighter as he smelled her natural scent. After stopping his struggle, Naruto said to Kakashi, "I didn't know you were the huggy type." "I didn't know I was either." Kakashi smiled and pulled her closer, saying, "Just like old times." Just without the kissing, as Naruto flushed at what he had just suggested. They both fell asleep slowly. By the time Kakashi and Naruto returned to Tazuna's house, the sun had risen, and many people greeted them and expressed gratitude for defeating Gato. Naruto noticed that Ramen was leaving the house and quickly ran inside after spotting this. "What are you guys doing here, and what's for Loon?" "Whoa," asked Naruto. "This is Naruto," Zabuza said, adding, "We're the guests. I firmly believe that she is the one who makes snap judgments and launches unconsidered attacks." Hit the hammer on the head, was the thought that was going through everyone's mind. "Hey, who do you think is stupid?" In response, Zabuza retorted, "I don't have time for shorties." "Well, I don't have time for people with skinny legs and no eyebrows." Zabuza's eye twitched. "You understand, kiddo? These stupid bandages are the only reason they appear thin," he snarled. "The mere fact that you can show off your legs does not imply that you can show off your eyebrows, Datbeo." "Haku, this kid's asking for it. Be calm before you break anything, Zabuza.san." Haku comforted, "Remember, these are the people who saved us." "Yes, but why is your height.8 positioned that way in the first place? Are you trying to be cool? You're not." Zabuza was not having any of it. "Haku, just this one time." Haku gave a negative shake of his head, and Zabuza was made to sit down in order to control himself. "Oh, what are you doing here?" asked Naruto. She gestured to Haku. With an apologetic smile, Haku said, "I was the hunter.nin." "You, hold on, what? Was it all a lie, then?" No, it wasn't. "Why are you with that guy, then?" "Well, a long time ago. I've heard of a new Mizukage there. She will probably let you two back in, especially since you are both one of the 7 swordsmen," Kakashi said, pointing to Zabuza, "and you have a Keke Genkai." Hayatan, pointing to Haku. "The corrosion style is another Keke Genkai of the Mizukage. You guys are safe," Kakashi said in closing. Both Haku and Zabuza left after Zabuza said, "Kakashi, thank you." Kakashi accepted, and Haku thanked him as well. "See ya around." "Goodbye, Eyebrows and Haku." They waved back when Naruto called out to her new pals. "Well, I guess this is goodbye. Tazuna.san, Tsunami.san, and Inari.kun." Kakashi said as Team 7 turned to face Tazuna's family. Naruto scowled, making a concerted effort to appear tough. Inari mimicked her size, but tears welled up in his eyes. The team said their goodbyes and turned away. Inari. "Yes, nay. Chan? It's okay to cry at times like this, so you could let it out." "No, I'm a big boy now," objected Inari. "No te. Tears are necessary to console me." Sakura thought, "Sheesh, these two are exactly alike." Naruto's weeping face resembled Inari's. "Goodbye, for now," said Naruto. "Goodbye," Inari yelled with his family. Additionally, the group of people behind the family exchanged final goodbyes. "Goodbye, I'll see you later." At Konoha, "Go on home now, I'll do the mission report," Kakashi instructed his students. After receiving gratitude from the students, Kakashi unexpectedly entered the Hokage's office. "Kakashi.kun, you've returned." The old Sarutobi obeyed. "I see that you're not hurt. Does that mean the rest are the same?" "Really, but first, Lord Hokage, may I ask you a question?" "Of course." "For the mission." Taking out a C-rank mission scroll, Hiruzen said, "Oh, yes, let me get you something first." "Isn't this?" asked Kakashi. Hiruzen told him, You didn't finish the mission back then some months ago in Wave. Kakashi's expression was bewildered. Mission. Mission. Mission, my goodness, I guess I didn't know enough about that mission to remember it at all. But I now understand what transpired with this timeline. Continue. Hiruzen nodded. That evening, Tazuna had an idea for his company meeting. Hey, guys. Why don't we construct a bridge to grow our shipping business? The audience concurred. Tazuna went on, that's correct. We can dedicate it to Team 7 as well. I can imagine it, the Great Naruto Bridge is the name it will have. The Great Kakashi Bridge. What about it? The Great Sasuke Bridge, no. You're completely mistaken, the Great Bridge of Sakura. Tazuna calmed the roaring crowd by saying, be quiet, everyone. It's Naruto since it was she who gave Inari the courage to share that courage with you all. The argument over the name of Tazuna's bridge then began. Man. I can't believe our week was over just like that, Naruto complained as she and her team strolled through the downtown marketplace. Sakura yelled at Naruto, be quiet, Naruto. Baka, you're making a scene. Sakura glared at Naruto before turning to face him and realizing that Naruto was right. Naruto ducked and said softly, Sakura-chan, I think it's you who's causing a scene. It's only the first day of missions, and they're already like this, sighed Kakashi, who then separated Sakura's and Naruto's shirts by taking their backs. Behave as your status, adults. Sakura and Naruto pouted. Sakura said, sorry, Naruto. It's all right, Sakura-chan, Naruto said with a smile. Sasuke scanned the marketplace before focusing on a specific katana. Kakashi saw right through Sasuke's show of mild interest. He wanted the katana. Sakura shook her head and discussed the new medic ninjutsu books in the library as Naruto talked to her about her favorite ramen flavors. Kakashi flexed his back, enjoying how vibrant Konoha was that night. With a sigh, he pulled out his orange book. When Sakura and Naruto looked around to see where the weary noise was coming from, they discovered Kakashi. Sakura immediately squinted when she saw what was in Kakashi's right hand. However, Naruto had grown disinterested in Kakashi's perverse behavior. In fact, she found their sensei amusing and distinctive. Naruto was, to be honest, a little pervert. Who wasn't? Sakura said, Kakashi. Sensei, why are you such a pervert? Kakashi asked casually, Did you say something, Sakura? Sakura muttered a growl while making a concerted effort to keep the book out of his grasp. Thinking of their previous meeting in the meadow at Wave, Naruto blushed briefly. Kakashi winked at Naruto, knowing what was on her mind. Naruto connected her hands to the back of her head in an attempt to combat the flush. On the sidelines, Kakashi laughed. They all completed their mission report once they arrived at the Hokage's office. Mission number 2023456289. D-ranked mission to clean up the manure in Tatsume. Sans farm left by the cows. Mission completed successfully. Kakashi sighed. With his hands clasped together, the Hokage nodded his head in satisfaction. Good job, Team 7. Your paycheck will be divided and delivered to you by the end of this week. Dismissed except for Kakashi. The group gave a salute. Haha, sensei. You're gonna get in trouble, Naruto said to Kakashi in a whisper that was loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. Sakura gave Naruto a head slap. Sakura said, oh, sorry, sensei. You know Naruto, she's a bit weird in the head. Hey, objected Naruto. Sakura used her fist to silence Naruto. Naruto and Sakura left after Sasuke. Bye, Gigi. The elderly Sarutobi smiled and waved back to Naruto. What do you need, sir? Kakashi asked, turning to face his Hokage. The Sandaime said, something bad is going to happen during the Chunin exams, right? He continued, the letter that Tsunade-chan sent me, from the future, says so. With a nod of agreement, Kakashi said, this is true, Hokage-sama. What exactly is going to happen? Last time, during the Chunin exams, there was a breaking of our alliance treaty with Suna. The worst is that Suna joined up with a new village, Otto, which is led by Orochimaru, said Kakashi. I see where this is going. Kakashi nodded his head. The Jinchuriki of Suna, the Kasuke's son, Gaara, is planned to attack our village in his Biju's form, the Ichibi. The Sandaime narrowed his eyes and said, go on. The Kasuke is actually murdered and made imposter by Orochimaru I think during the first phase of the Chunin exams. At this time, Orochimaru bites Sasuke, giving him the curse mark. This causes Sasuke to leave Konoha. And lastly, you die, Hokage-sama. Kakashi resisted when he explained the future of the old. When Hiruzen learned about his and Konoha's future, he remained steadfast. Very well, Kakashi. You may go now, I'll need to think about this problem for now. Hokage. Sama, when will Jiraiya Sama return to Konoha? Kakashi then recalled. In 2 days, why? Kakashi asked, grinning behind his mask, interrupting the elderly Sarutobi's thoughts. Kakashi saluted his leader and leapt from the window, saying, Nothing, I'll tell you later on more information. Till then, Hokage. Sama. Observing Kakashi's diminishing back, the Sandaime said, I'll trust you on this one, Kakashi. After 2 days, Kakashi said to Naruto during team drill, Nay, Naru, can you do an errand for me? She said, growing more enthusiastic, Me? Yeah, sure. Naruto raised a brow. Okay. I need you to go to the hot springs near the big sakura tree on Wakana Street. Go the southern side, outside the hot spring, which would be directly outside the women's section. There, you will find a man with long, spiky, white hair with red tear stains painted on his face. I want you to bring him to me in this training ground. Got it? When can I start? Thinking of another particular pervert, Kakashi joked, Now actually. Have a safe trip, and don't get caught with any perverts, okay? As the horizon closed in, she waved her hand and said, Don't worry, Kakashi. Sensei. You're the only pervert I know. Her back was getting smaller and smaller. Kakashi waved back, grinning. Naruto was stumbling around the hot springs, looking for the guy with the white hair or whatever. Naruto nearly gave up after searching for a while near the women's area when he heard laughter coming from the bushes. She moved slowly in the direction of the bushes, her eyes narrowed. Naruto narrowed her eyes even more and noticed the man's long, white hair was spiky. The fact that the person was peeping made her eyes narrow even more. She cried out loud enough for the women inside to hear, Oh no, you're not getting away with this, you pervert. In record time, the pervert who peeped was beaten by dressed women outside. Jiraiya turned quickly, in a flash, to see Naruto and the irate group of women. Naruto's face was painted with blood tears, confirming that he was the person Kakashi had been looking for. With disgust, Naruto thought, and he's old too. The women beat him after she gestured to him in front of them. The women walked back to the warm springs after 30 minutes of beating Jiraiya. He picked himself up and said, You, little girl, just who do you think I am? After giving Naruto a disbelieving look. An old, perverted, loner that finds pleasure in peeping at women that are at least 10 times younger than you. Man, I can't believe that Kakashi Sensei told me to get you. And, by the way, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, the next Hokage of Konoha, she boasted. Kakashi? Why would he need me? Jiraiya asked her, looking at her strangely, but deep down he thought, so this is Minato's orphaned daughter. My goddaughter. I dunno, but I guess I could say you guys are alike. You guys are both perverts, said Naruto. Naruto's mouth fell open as he continued, Hey, I'm not a pervert, I'm a super pervert. Also, what's wrong with Konoha's history textbooks? I'm the great toad sage of the Densetsu no Sanin. One of the legendary 3. If you don't know me, then that means you're lost, little girl. Ha 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 ha, he laughed arrogantly. If you're so famous, then why are girls beating your butt? Snarled Naruto. Jiraiya had no response to that, so he simply squinted at her. Fine, what you want, Gaki? I need you to come with me, Kakashi, Sensei said to get you. He smiled and said, Kakashi? Why would he need me? If it's for an autograph, then, that's another story. With curiosity, Naruto asked, What do you mean by autograph? He exclaimed with pride, For my famous book, Icha Icha Paradise Saga. You mean to tell me that you're the one who makes those stupid perverted books that Sensei reads? She asked menacingly. Jiraiya cockily nodded his head. Seeing that this man was even more overtly perverted than Kakashi, Naruto gave up. Hump! You're just an arrow. Senin! She exclaimed, bursting into fits of laughter. Jiraiya squinted at the small blonde girl, saying, She just called me arrow. Senin, offended, he thought, Hey, don't call me that, Gaki. She said, Ha, too late, arrow. Senin, and made fun of him as they traveled to their destination. Naruto said, her broad smile still intact, Here's the arrow. Senin, Kakashi. Sensei. Oh yeah, he another pervert. Seeing that Jiraiya had been given his nickname by Naruto from the start, Kakashi grinned. This is him, alright. Good job, Naru. Chan. I'll take it from here. For now, Just stay here with the rest of your teammates until I get back, okay? Naruto gave an obedient nod. Jiraiya was walked across Konoha by Kakashi. Jiraiya questioned, Kakashi, are you just going to walk me across Konoha, or are you going to tell me something important? First, we need to get to the Hokage's office, Kakashi said with a sigh, setting down his book. Jiraiya scowled as he remembered his former sensei. Jiraiya nodded and consented to visit the Hokage's office. Hiruzen appeared alert toward Kakashi by the time both strong shinobi arrived at the office. Kakashi, Jiraiya, what are you two doing here? He replied. We're here to tell you something. Well, at least I am. Kakashi said lazily. Jiraiya. Sama, if you wouldn't mind stepping out to the room for a quick minuet? When Jiraiya complied, Hiruzen scowled. Kakashi swiftly created a privacy barrier from the ceiling where the Anbu guards were stationed and around the outside of the Hokage's office when it was just the two of them. What is it, Kakashi? And why did you also bring Jiraiya to this problem? Asked Hiruzen. Last time, right after the Chunin exams, we needed a new Hokage because we didn't have one. Firstly, Jiraiya was chosen as a candidate for Hokage, but he refused altogether because of his spying network. And then, we needed to choose another person to be our Hokage, and Tsunade. Sama was chosen for that spot. How did you get Tsunade to return to Konoha? Asked Hiruzen, looking perplexed. Kakashi continued. Naruto and Jiraiya went to different towns searching for her. If I remember correctly, Naruto and Tsunade. Sama made a bet with each other, in which Tsunade. Sama lost. But in all honesty, Naruto was the key point to bringing Tsunade. Sama back because she changed her. The Sandame nodded his head. So what does Jiraiya have to do with this now? The Chunin exams are in a month. Also, the Chunin exams takes another month to complete, meaning that you get Tsunade-chan in 2 to 3 months. Right? You are correct, Sandame. Sama, but I was thinking on getting her more earlier. Maybe before the Chunin exams start. So, I was thinking that if this happened, maybe some things could be changed around. Yes, but do you think this might work? Hiruzen asked, folding his hands together and placing them beneath his chin. Before allowing Jiraiya entry, Kakashi said, I can't say for certain, but it will help for sure. I was hoping that through this plan, we could prevent your death and Sasuke defection. The Sandame scowled once more, revealing his wrinkles as he glanced at Jiraiya and Kakashi with approval. Jiraiya, I need you to find Tsunade-chan and bring her back here in Konoha right before the Chunin exams start, Hiruzen said, locking eyes with Jiraiya. This time Jiraiya frowned, but she defected almost 2 decades ago. We have brought many of our Anbu troops to get her, even teams at a time, but all of them would come back injured. That's why we stopped her searches. How can we bring her back if the same results will come back? The old Sarutobi smiled. People can change through other people. Also, please don't try to fail this mission. Even though she has monstrous strength, try to deal with her in a more non-violent way. The Sandame closed his eyes. Also, I want you to bring someone with you for some minor reasons. Have you met the little angel named Naruto? Well, she's going to be with you on this trip. Wait. I'm fine with trying to find Tsunade back, but with that angel? She's not an angel, more like a little devil. Jiraiya looked distressed. If she goes with me, I won't have any time to peep. Just today, when I was peeping, she purposefully screamed out that I was peeping, making the women hear. They will all beat me up. And then that Gaki also made fun of me. He pouted. Anyways, why does she need to come? Jiraiya, you're a grown man, act like it. With a humorous expression, Kakashi and Hiruzen said to her, and you can't keep hiding and running away. She needs to come because Kakashi needs you to train her for a bit. Okay then, sensei. I'll try to deal with her, and anyways, I was just joking. That Gaki's just like her mother. Jiraiya sighed, his face growing more serious as he closed his eyes tightly. He concluded with a smile of amusement. From behind his mask, Kakashi grinned. Then, you can begin in a week, the Hokage said. The following day Sakura said, Kakashi, sensei, what are we gonna do today? Today, we don't have any missions. Actually, I'm going to teach Naru her chosen or recommended technique today. Sasuke, I'll teach yours soon after, okay? Kakashi said, setting his book down from his face. Sasuke gave a nod. You guys can train by yourselves or get a free day, Kakashi went on. Sakura and Sasuke gave him a nod, opting to train independently in their own personal area. Turning to face Naruto, Kakashi said, Kaka, sensei, I think I'll take the suggestion. Kakashi smiled, that's a good thing actually. I'm not technically going to teach you a jutsu, actually. At this, Naruto furrowed his brow. Kakashi continued, I'm going to teach you how to control your chakra even more. So this means more chakra control exercises. Huh? What do you mean, Kakashi? Sensei? Didn't we already do that stuff during the wave? And you said that we all mastered it? Yes, but compared to Sakura and Sasuke's chakra control, yours is abysmal. But it was enough to keep you alive. He then, though, about what Naruto last said, did I say that? I guess I did at the time, but as I analyzed you more in your walking, there is something wrong. Anyways, mastering doesn't mean perfecting. Gee, thanks Kakashi. Sensei. Naruto remarked mockingly, then she gave a sigh of approval. With a simple smile, Kakashi said, let's go tree walking again. Naruto pouted, man, you suck, Kaka. Sensei. I should have picked my own jutsu, humph. Yada, Naru. Chan. Let's go to the tallest tree in this forest. Naruto and Kakashi had no trouble locating the tallest tree in the forest. Kakashi instructed Naruto to climb it after he had done so. Naruto ascended it with grace, but she was a little unsteady on her descent. Kakashi said bluntly, redo it. The same outcomes were obtained. Sighing, Kakashi said, it's how you go down. You're still wobbly. Naruto gave in to the same outcomes when she repeated her exercise. Naruto felt bad when Kakashi sighed and scratched the back of her head. So, sorry, Kakashi. Sensei. I guess I should have been practicing from me break. It's okay, Naru. Chan. That's why you're practicing right now. Kakashi grinned at her and said, I suggest that you try to run downwards. Are you trying to kill me, Kaka? Sensei? Naruto asked him in a crazy manner. Kakashi chuckled and said, ha ha ha, no, I'm helping you, now try it. As she ascended the tree, she remarked, okay, I better not die, then. She gulped when she got to the top branch, believing that this was her last day. Kaka. Sensei, what if I do die? I'll be here to catch you, silly. Remember what I said in wave? Kakashi said with a broad smile, holding his arms up for protection. Once more, Naruto swallowed. She sprinted downhill without a stumble. She had a crooked white smile on her face and was trembling in terror when she landed ungracefully. I did it. Datbeo, Kakashi said, see, you untrusting student. To Naruto. In contrast, Naruto was yelling with joy. Naruto eventually perfected her walking after doing it without running or accidents. After her celebration, Kakashi finally got her attention by coughing and saying, we do need to do your water walking exercise. This time, Naruto walked shakily to the lake beside a little patch of green grass without complaining. When she got to the other side, she scratched the back of her head. Kakashi let out a sigh, which made Naruto blush. This can't do, redo it. Naruto did it without protest. Try to balance your chakra from the soles of your feet. Kakashi sighed disapprovingly once more, and she succeeded 5 times in a row. With her hands on her waist, Naruto exclaimed with pride, see, I told you I could do it. To irritate her, Kakashi simply rolled his eyes while reading his book and said, redo it. Kakashi snickered behind his book as Naruto complained under her breath. Don't make fun of me, Kakashi. Sensei, I'm not. I'm just reading this naughty scene where Miko, Chan and Naruto, flushed, splattered water on Kakashi and his priceless book, interrupting him. Kakashi gaped, his mouth trembling. Naruto was laughing while rolling on the water, looking down at his soaked book. This girl is going to get it, he told himself. Taking advantage of her distraction, he approached her and lifted her up. Naruto stopped giggling and fought to break out of Kakashi's embrace. What are you gonna do, Kakashi? Sensei. Naruto's spine tingled when he saw the crazed gleam in Kakashi's eyes. She looked at Kakashi and gulped loudly. He picked her up and set her down beside his obscene book. Kakashi looked at Naruto and gestured toward the book. With a terrified smile, Naruto asked, yes, Kakashi. Sensei? And gave him a wary glance. She scowled slightly and said, what? It was an accident, and you were the one making fun of me. With a sly smile, Kakashi asked, are you going to replace it? Kakashi asked, what do you mean by replace it? As Naruto gave her a wary glance. He blackmailed, saying, I'll not train you unless it's now or never. What do you mean by replace it? Naruto asked again, her eyes narrowing. Go to the bookstore and buy me another copy of Icha Icha, Naruto. Huh? Who do you think I am? He looked back at Naruto and sighed. Well, guess I can't show you that awesome technique I found. With the slight, oh so very slight, possibility of teaching it to one of my students. He said, okay, then bye, and walked painfully slowly away. For a moment, Naruto's eyes widened as she fought the impulse to leap up on Kakashi. Wah! Wait, Kakashi. Sensei! She finally exclaimed, biting her lip in denial. Kakashi turned around in a stylish manner and placed his heel on his back. With a sly smile, he approached Naruto's seat. Kakashi leaned down, still grinning, making Naruto appear even more diminutive than she already was. Yes, Naru-chan. She fought the urge to give him a low growl even more. Kaka. Sensei. Just because I'm one of your bestest students, I'll let this one go. Where's the bookstore? Kakashi's grin widened as he remarked mockingly, huh. And by the way, bestest isn't a word. 2 blocks from the right from Isaraku. This time, Naruto thought about her paycheck and let out a growl. I suppose she now understands Iruka's feelings when she indulges him. Kakashi also added, oh, and can you buy that solid black katana from the Ikana merchant? You'll know which one once you see it. He gave her money, pay that with this. And I'll know if you used it on the book. Who do you think I am? Naruto said defensively, raising his hands. After pushing her away, Kakashi turned to embrace and cuddle his priceless book. And this was the one Naru-chan gave me before, he said, smiling. Anyway, she's buying me one again in this timeline, he said, beginning to laugh slowly. Naruto turned to face him, his eyes strange and disgusted by his genuine interest in his book. Naruto was uncomfortable and ashamed of what she was going to purchase as she made her way to the bookshop. The cashier gave her the typical glare as she opened the bookstore door. Naruto blushed as she approached the adult section and saw the book titles. Why is Kakashi-sensei acting strangely? She eventually went to the cashier to pay for the book after searching for the correct one. May I also get a thick bag for this book too? The cashier noticed the bags when he looked beneath his counter. He laughed and threw her out, saying, girlie, you don't need a bag for a £1/4 book. Just don't look embarrassed while you walk. That stupid, old fart. Just watch, old man, you're gonna be my next target, Naruto said, cursing at him and massaging her butt. People were whispering as they walked to the path, focusing on Naruto and the book she was holding. The words the villagers chose to use made Naruto blush multiple times in embarrassment. Naruto eventually located the solid black katana after making his way to the marketplace one by one. When she finally realized that she had wanted the exact same one, she knitted her eyebrows together. After deciding to pay attention to her sensei, she reached for the paper money in her pocket. After purchasing the katana, Naruto hurried back to Kakashi to begin training. With the book and katana in hand, Naruto stood in front of Kakashi, panting heavily and flushed. She gave him a fierce glare as he gave her an eye smile. Naruto gritted her teeth and screamed, there. Now, Naru-chan. No need to be temperamental to your own beloved sensei. What beloved sensei are you talking about, Datbeo? What a cutie, he said, smiling behind his mask. Kakashi took the items in her hands and set them on the tree she was leaning on. She gave him the extra cash after Naruto remarked, why do you need the sword, Kakashi-sensei? As he nodded and counted the money, Kakashi brushed his hand through his silver hair and remarked, just because. Naruto stopped talking as she blushed and said, well, I kinda. Yes? Kakashi asked, raising a silver brow. I kinda wanted to buy it. Kakashi questioned, you wanted to buy it? For what? Do you know kenjutsu? Shaking her head, Naruto said, nah, never mind. Kakashi cried, no, it's okay. Just tell me, if I see it a good enough reason, then I'll give it. With wide eyes, Naruto paused and shook her head. Kakashi looked perplexed but refrained from asking her again, saying, it's okay, Kaka-sensei. If I really do need it, then I'll ask you later. Let's get started then, Naruto said with a smile. When Kakashi finished training Naruto's chakras, he made sure to ingrain it in her mind. Naruto passed out from the sheer number of exercises they performed. They have completed 5 additional exercises in addition to the 3 fundamental chakra controlling exercises. Naruto lay down in Kakashi's back as she sat down crisscrossed beside him. He occasionally giggled as he turned the new pages of his book. Thinking about how girly and perverted Kakashi sounded, Naruto narrowed her eyes at his giggling form. Naruto rolled over, scratching her butt, and turned to face Kakashi, who turned to her. Kakashi waited for Naruto to talk. Hey, Kaka-sensei? Don't ya think that Sasuke? To me's being a bit distant. I mean, he's practically built to be antisocial, but this time, it's different. I mean, he doesn't fight with me as much like after the wave mission. Dadbeo. Kakashi scowled at her issue and knew right away that Sasuke didn't want to be close to anyone who could undermine the motivation behind his ambition. As she said the final sentence quietly, Naruto added, "That's why I wanted to buy that sword thingy. I saw Sasuke Teme looking at it, and instantly, I knew that he wanted it. Cause, you know, his birthday's coming up." Knowing the depth of Sasuke and Naruto's friendship, Kakashi's eyes widened. He then said, "Silly, no need to be embarrassed about something as minor as caring about your friends. And by the way, I also had the same plan in mind." Naruto's eyes widened as it was her turn to ask, "You too, Kakashi?" "Sensei?" The realization of friendship struck her hard. Kakashi nodded and grinned as he approached and gave her the katana. "I was also thinking about a birthday party for Sasuke, including all of Team 7, he stated. Naruto took the katana in his hands and grinned broadly, "I'll pay yo." He scratched the back of his head and laughed, saying, "No need. I have too much money anyways." "Nay, Kakashi. Sensei, weren't ya gonna show and tech me a jutsu?" Naruto then questioned Kakashi. He laughed merrily as he grabbed her and swung her on his shoulder, saying, "Nope, now let's go home." She exclaimed, "Hey, who do you think I am, a rag doll? Dadbeo?" 3 times in one day. Ignoring looks, Kurenai and Asuma excused their inquisitive and astute students. Their faces were etched with tiny smiles. Both mentors witnessed Guy and his group approaching them while yelling the springtime of youth. Kurenai smiled and motioned for Guy to join them. "Hello, my dear fellow teachers and friends. Are you and your youthful students out to bask in the evening sunlight and eat the delicious dango? What a youthful scene," he exclaimed as he joyfully ran over with his students to the dango shop. His and Kurenai's students started to cough and water when Asuma lit another cigarette. Asuma removed his cigarette from his mouth to soothe Guy, who was frightening the majority of the civilians, and sighed. Guy sat on one of the seats in the dango shop, grinning and scratching the back of his head. All of the mentors left their students after a few minutes, giving them some alone time. "Hey, did you guys hear about the Chunin exams coming up in a month?" Asuma asked. Asuma and Guy also intended to nominate their students, but Kurenai grinned and said, "Yes, I even plan to nominate my students." When Guy saw Kakashi, he stopped talking. "I also heard that the Chunin exams are going to take place here, in Ko." Kurenai and Asuma both grinned at Kakashi when they saw him. "Hey, Kakashi, my hip rival, would you like to join us for some dango?" Guy called out to him. Still holding Naruto, Kakashi turned around and began to make his way to the mentoring group. Asuma, Guy, and Kurenai's eyes widened significantly. Kurenai exclaimed, "Wow, that's a new one." Kakashi did not disregard Guy's request. Before putting Kakashi down in a seat beside him, Naruto was slapping her back. Her eyes widened at the sight of a man with bushy brows and the other 2 senseis. She shifted uneasily in her chair. Kakashi gave her a humorous smile and tousled her hair. Kurenai nearly choked on her dango after seeing this. In fact, Asuma dropped half of his cigarette on the ground after biting down on it. Guy's mouth formed a "oh" and he continued to mumble about love in youth. When Kakashi ruffled her hair, Naruto retaliated by kicking him in the stomach. When his finger was about to stab her in the face, she glared at him and nearly bit it. Kakashi chuckled and swiftly placed a dango stick in Naruto's mouth after removing it from Kurenai's plate. As Naruto chewed on the dango stick, her irate expression almost immediately calmed down. Kakashi gave Naruto a dog-like pat on the head and burst out laughing once more. Still mumbling about young love, Guy put his hands to his cheek. Asuma and Kurenai were still in shock over what they were witnessing. It is evident that Kakashi was enamored with the little blonde, despite the fact that it appeared as though he was making fun of Naruto. Asuma, Kurenai, and Guy talked about the two's relationship in their own small group. Kurenai started, "He's never actually listened to you whenever you called him to dango before, Guy." Guy answered, "Of course, my youthful friend. My hip rival has always ignored me coolly." Asuma extinguished his smoke and said, "Yeah, but with that unpredictable brat. I never knew that Kakashi's into girls like that." Kurenai looked back at the two and slapped Asuma on the arm, saying, "Shut up, love can go differently from different people. I've never seen Kakashi ever like this. It seems he seems more happier." Both men let out a gasp. Guy added, "Even those smutty books of his don't give this youthful aura on him." With a sigh, Asuma said, I wonder if even she can stop his timing habits. Kurenai and Guy sighed thoughtfully at the idea of Kakashi showing up on time for the Junin meeting. On that day, even miracles would occur. When Asuma attempted to attract Kakashi's attention, she was once again ignored. When Kakashi caught all of the kunai and violently returned them, he attempted to throw them at him but failed miserably. Asuma has up and is sweating a little. Kurenai gave Asuma another arm slap and remarked, Baka, you're disturbing them. Kurenai, Asuma, and Guy then departed the dango shop to give the two of them some space. Sasuke was training at training grounds 7 by the time the clock struck 8 a.m. that morning. Sasuke was practicing his jutsu mastery when he was able to maintain his Kaden jutsu for roughly a minute. Sasuke's day was full of his typical activities, but despite his achievement, he felt a little strange. It was most likely due to the absence of team missions and training today. Sasuke rejected those ideas in his mind, presumably because they were the same and there had been days like that. Sasuke shook his head and went back to his training. Naruto yelled, Hey, Teme, I need your help on something. Initially taken aback, Sasuke glared at her approaching figure and said, HN. Sasuke ignored her as Naruto grinned broadly and asked, Do I hear a yes? Anyway, come with me, Teme. Naruto grinned even more. She took hold of his arm and pulled him into the center of Konoha. Let go, you Dobi. Shut up, Teme. Just deal with it. You shut up, you Saratonkachi. By the time you're done yelling at me, my ears will fall off. Deal with it, Duckbit. Naruto stopped suddenly, causing Sasuke to flinch before he could make a comeback. With a cunning grin, Naruto laughed at a bookshop and muttered, Just wait, old man. I already warned you. After giving her a troubling look, Sasuke finally realized what she was about to do. He could tell by the expression she was making that Naruto was going to pull a particularly nasty practical joke on someone today. He turned to try to leave, saying, Nope. I'm not going to get caught in your stupid plans, you Saratonkachi. She grabbed his arm once more and said, Nope. You're not going anywhere just yet, Teme. Thought of Kiba. Sasuke narrowed his eyes and said, Why don't you get someone else to do your stupid plan? Like Sakura or Kakashi. Sensei. Or even better, get that stupid mud to do this with you. I'm pretty sure he'll agree. Naruto shook her head, No can do. Kakashi. Sensei and Sakura are busy while Kiba's grooming Akamaru or something. Too bad, Teme. I need someone else to do this with me. I can't carry all this stuff by myself and it's no fun with only my shadow clones. She stuck out her tongue. If you do it, I'll try not to other you as much for a whole week. Please, 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 she kept asking. With his eyes narrowed once more, Sasuke uttered, TCH. Whatever, Dobi. She led him behind the store and said, Yay. Let's go behind the store. That's where I hid all of the stuff. Sasuke looked incredulously at the chickens behind the store. How did they never find this? I mean, the chickens are so loud, he said, glancing at her. She laughed enthusiastically as Naruto shrugged and said, I dunno and I don't care, but let's get started. Sasuke gave her a nervous glance. When she saw his face, Naruto grinned and said, What, are you too chicken to do this, Sasuke-chan? Sasuke gave her a fierce look before grinning and saying, Not in a million years, Dobi. He then turned to face her again and asked, What did they do to make you want to prank them? She said angrily, He literally kicked me out of his store and didn't give me a bag. Despite his bewildered expression, he asked, Where'd you get all the chickens then? She looked at him. Remember when we cooped up all the chicken in Tsunade? Sans chicken farm. Well, he told us if we needed any chicken-related favors, he would give it to us, right? So, I thought about it, and I was like, why don't I go to Tsunade? Sans farm and ask for the chicken-related favor? And that was how I got all these chicken. Sasuke gave her a blank stare. Naruto thought she saw a small smile appear on Sasuke's face. She teased him, laughing, saying, Haha Sasuke-chan. No need to hide it. Naruto smiled at Sasuke as he glared at her and said, Shut up, Dobi. Just tell me the plan. The cashier in the bookstore was looking boredly into the book he was perusing. A recognizable animal sound suddenly echoed beneath him. What the fuck? He investigated the sound by looking underneath. He jumped backwards and exclaimed, WH. Whoa, upon seeing the lone chicken in his walkway. He gaped as he watched another chicken emerge from the hallway. Where did you come fro? Incredulously, he asked, What's going on in he? When 5 more chickens emerged from the hallway. The cashier heard more chicken noises coming from the opposite side of the bookstore and got to her feet. He noticed that there were at least 15 chickens in the packed hallway as he hurried to his destination. The cashier sprinted to the other side, his eyes widening once more. When he noticed that there were twice as many chickens, he exclaimed, "Where?" The cashier kept running back and forth, but the same thing happened. By the time he left the chickens alone, they had doubled in size. As he asked himself, "Is this all in my head?" As the chickens continued to grow, his store became overcrowded. In addition to doing their business, the chickens chewed on the books and made messes. "No, chickens, no," he said, attempting to swipe the white creatures away with his broom. But the chickens just poop more as a result of this. The cashier turned to see feathers and chicken urine all over his otherwise spotless counter. The cashier stepped on something warm and his face went hazy as he ran back to his counter. When he put it on, all he could say was, "Oh, Kami-sama." Amusement set in, and Sasuke bit his lip. Sasuke pinched his thigh as hard as he could, trying to hide the pain from the laughter that threatened to explode. Naruto took an egg and tossed it on the cashier's butt while grinning. Sasuke turned his head and choked. "Not the eggs," groaned the cashier. Sasuke gave a snort. To keep their hiding place a secret, Naruto tried to laugh softer. Aiming for the cashier's back, Naruto tossed another egg. She gestured to the chickens by the register, saying, "Hee, Teme. Looky here." After removing some chicken feed, Naruto tossed it at the cashier. The chickens immediately began to eat the cashier. Sasuke smiled slightly, and Naruto roared with laughter. But when the cashier asked, "Who's there?" they stopped laughing. To keep quiet, Naruto glanced at Sasuke. Sasuke simply gave her the "You were the only one laughing Dobi" expression. He was simply waved away by Naruto until someone entered the bookstore. When the customer exclaimed, "What the double hockey sticks is going on in here?" Naruto burst out laughing. That remark caused Sasuke and Naruto to start laughing. When Naruto fell out of the closet, where she was hiding, they both laughed. All of a sudden, she was spotted by more customers. Sasuke grabbed Naruto's collar and pulled her out as he ran after slapping his palm against his head. He said, "You stupid Usaratonkachi. Get them," roared the crowd. "Dang it," said Sasuke. Naruto said, "Oops," as she accelerated toward him. Naruto ran for 15 minutes before he noticed a building and exclaimed, "Go up there." Panting, Sasuke ran up alongside her and lay down on top of the building. "What the double hockey sticks is going on in here?" Naruto exclaimed as he noticed the throng below. "Hey!" yelled the customer who had just said that. With a roar of laughter, Naruto collapsed backward, her hands resting on her stomach. Sitting beside her, Sasuke followed suit. With a smile, Naruto said to Sasuke, "Hee, I didn't know the antisocial Teme can actually laugh." "Shut up, Dobi." He smiled as he said it. She pinched his cheeks and said, "Hee, you're smiling, Teme. Take your hands off, Dobi." "What, Princess Sasuke? Afraid that me touching your girly face will give you pimples?" He responded to her in the same way. "Shut up, Dobi." A crowd of people gathered behind them as the roof door was opened. "Freak. Let's get out of here, Dobi." Naruto nodded and dragged Sasuke as he leapt from roof to roof. With a faint shade on his face, he exclaimed, "What are you doing, Dobi? Get your hands off me." When Naruto saw Sasuke's apartment, she grinned. Naruto landed on the balcony and led Sasuke to the rear entrance. With a scowl, Sasuke turned his knob and said, "Usaratonkachi, you're so stupid." Naruto simply smiled at him. Sasuke was about to open his door when someone yelled, "Surprise!" His heart skipped a beat. Gaping, Sasuke synchronized with the scene in front of him. In a lazy manner, Kakashi blew on his noisemaker. Sakura was flinging confetti everywhere while laughing. Sasuke turned to face Naruto and noticed her foxy smile. And when they all sang, "Happy Birthday," to him, he frowned and tried not to smile. Sasuke ended up grinning a little, but it was in vain. Naruto rushed towards Sasuke and delivered 13 punches to him. He raised an eyebrow at the rectangular box she was holding while glaring at her laughing form. Her tongue protruded as she said, "Open it, Teme." The box that said, "For Teme," in chicken scratch was taken by Sasuke. With a sly smile, he cautiously opened the box. When Sasuke saw the solid black katana inside the box, his eyes glistened with joy. Scratching the back of her head, Naruto said, "Well, that's your B.Day gift, Teme." "Actually, Kakashi, Sensei was the one to buy it, but ya know, he said I could give it cause he's generous like that. So, that katana is from both of us, I guess. As he approached Sasuke, Kakashi ruffled Naruto's hair and grinned. This was the age I started reading Icha Icha, he whispered as he handed Sasuke a well-known orange book. Despite his dejected expression, Sasuke accepted the book. When Sakura saw the gift, she exclaimed, Kakashi. Sensei, to Kakashi. Ma, Sakura. Chan. Sasuke is at the age where boys. Kakashi waved Sakura away. I'd rather not hear it, Naruto said, shutting her ears. Naruto glared back at Kakashi as he laughed at her. Next up was Sakura, who presented Sasuke with a limited edition set of shuriken and kunai that had detachable explosive seals. She smiled and said, they're special cause you never need to sharpen them. They always stay sharp no matter what. Sasuke thanked her while examining all of the gifts he was holding and grinning a little. After smiling, Naruto went to retrieve the cake from his refrigerator. Sasuke couldn't help but glare at Naruto, who was snickering when he saw the cake. Sasuke gazed at the duck butt-shaped cake, but he couldn't help but smile with amusement when he saw the words, from Naruto, the next Hokage, Sakura and Kakashi. Sensei. Written on the side. It's Tami's birthday, so to the duck butt. Happy birthday, Teme, was written in bold letters in the middle of the onyx cake. When Sasuke asked, how do you get the baker to make this? His smile became sincere. Naruto let out a loud laugh. No, me, Kakashi, Sensei, and Sakura. Chan baked it ourselves. I think we've made a good job on the shape cause you recognized it, Dadbeo. Anyways, what baker would listen to the request of making a duck butt cake? With a laugh, Kakashi pulled out the cake cutter. He approached the cake, cut out a piece, and distributed it to each person. But, Kakashi. Sensei, I wanted to cut it, whimpered Naruto. With a wise shake of his head, Kakashi said, no, you might have cut your thumb off. Despite rolling her eyes, Sakura walked to the restroom after laughing at the two's performance. But we're ninja, Dadbeo, scowled Naruto. Naruto pouted but took the cake he gave her after Kakashi shook his head once more and reminded her, no, you might cut yourself. And by the way, you were the one writing on the cake, so it's only proper that I get to cut the cake. She found it difficult to thank Kakashi, and his response of, what Naru? Did you say something? Only made her angrier. Kakashi snickered even louder as Naruto stomped over to where Sasuke was invented. Naruto said, the nerve of that. Arg! As he glared at Kakashi and then turned back to Sasuke. With a sigh, Sasuke addressed her, hey, Naruto? Naruto appeared surprised as he uttered her name. The Dobi, or you Saratonkachi, was not the typical, yeah, Sasuke, she said. Despite his embarrassment, Sasuke asked her, was it you? Me what? Naruto asked, raising a brow, was it you that planned this? Naruto's eyes widened a little, but she gave him a sincere smile. Well, kinda, but not at the same time. It was both me and Kakashi. Sensei. We had the same thing in mind, so we made it happen. Naruto burst out laughing. Well, while we were busy pranking the cashier, Kakashi, Sensei and Sakura, Chan were here preparing the party. Incredulous, Sasuke said, but I've never told you the date of my birthday. Well, remember that time when we were still in the academy? We had that one day when Iruka Sensei was talking about dates and seasons and he suddenly told everyone to tell their birthdays to each other. So I kinda. Naruto exclaimed, blushing in embarrassment. It was her turn to blush. With a mental pause, Sasuke said, but that was almost 3 years ago. Naruto smiled sheepishly, well, ya know. You just became my rival, so I was in the state of mind that I had to know everything about my rival to know their weaknesses, so. Sasuke couldn't help but smile, so he bit his lip to contain it. When Naruto noticed this, he began pinching his cheeks for the second time that day. As he struggled to get out of her arms, she laughed at his irritated expression. Kakashi scowled slightly as he turned to face his other two pupils. Not only that, but he was furiously angry inside at what he saw. He attempted to argue with himself, claiming that this is the behavior of best friends or siblings. It was nearly like reading an open book, though, based on the looks Sasuke gave Naruto. Kakashi walked over to Sasuke and gave him a menacing eye smile. Sasuke scowled when he noticed Kakashi's expression change. Turning around, Naruto saw Kakashi cowering behind Sasuke. Her heart tightened slightly. Kakashi's forehead developed a tick mark, which now extended behind Sasuke and pulled Naruto into the kitchen. Sasuke stared at the floor in confusion and blankness as he finally processed the news that Naruto had been pulled into the kitchen. Sasuke reassured himself by simply shrugging his shoulders and imagining how Naruto could have gotten into trouble. Yikes. Kakashi. Sensei, I didn't do it, yelled Naruto in self-justification. With a heavy sigh, Kakashi pinched the bridge of his nose in a stressful manner. No, you're not getting in trouble. Then why do you give me your Satan glare? Naruto asked after calming down. What? Kakashi narrowed his eye. With dramatic hand gestures, she said, Ya no. The one that you did when you said we failed, but we actually passed, Dadbeo. Naruto appeared perplexed as Kakashi sighed a second time and said, Okay, enough with that. I have an important matter to discuss with you. In 2 days, you'll be going on a mission with Jiraiya Sama. After that, Kakashi added, Arrow, Senin. She thought for a moment, wait. What? I'm going on a mission with the Arrow Senin? And nodded her head, oh. Kakashi nodded his head, yes, you are, Naruto, and for a month. He's going to train you for the Sandame's, mine, and his own reasons. I promise that both of you will be just fine. Actually, you guys are more alike than what you'd expect, Naru. I promise you'll like him, Kakashi said with a sincere smile. Who said I couldn't do it, Kakashi? Sensei? Naruto asked, knitting her eyebrows together. You always come up with ways to surprise me, Naru. Kakashi grinned broadly and ruffled her hair once more. Hey, stop doing that. By the time I get home, I'm gonna get dreadlocks, Dadbeo, she said. Kakashi nearly ruffled her hair once more as she laughed and hurried out the door. Kakashi sagged to the wall behind him, his smile fading as he was left alone. Sighing, he said, that was a close one. After 3 hours, Sakura waved to him, and he gave her a straight face in return. Bye, Sasuke-kun, she said, blushing and smiling. See you tomorrow. Sakura shouted, take that, Ino. Pig, as she ran home, blushing and nearly tripping. Bye, Duckbit. I hope you smell like one tomorrow, Sakura said, giving Sasuke a dazzling smile, but Naruto looked surprised by her retreating back. Sasuke gave her a fierce look and was about to retort when she disappeared into the distance. Before Sasuke stopped him, Kakashi waved at him and said, bye, Sasuke. See you tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget to read your book. Wait, Kakashi. Sensei. Yes, slightly flushed, Sasuke asked, would you mind if you taught me kenjutsu? Sure, Kakashi said with a smile behind his mask. Kakashi turned to walk in the opposite direction after Sasuke nodded. Oh, and by the way, Sasuke. Happy birthday. Kakashi waved his hand. Sasuke grinned as he glanced at Kakashi, finally understanding why today felt a little strange. After 2 days, freak, I'm gonna be late, Naruto exclaimed in a panic as she prepared her traveling attire for a month-long journey. She nearly broke down in tears as she stared at her kitchen cupboard, regretting not being able to eat ramen that morning. When Naruto finally jumped out of her apartment window, she saw the green entrance gates as she leapt from roof to roof. She was on time, having used all of her energy to reach the gates in less than 5 minutes. Naruto was greeted by Team 7. Bye everybody. Naruto walked over to them with a toothy smile. She then ran towards everyone and gave them all a bear hug at once. Sakura grinned and gave everyone else, including Sasuke, a hug in return. Sakura said, Naruto, Baka, when are you coming back? After letting go of her embrace with everyone, Naruto replied, probably in a month, Sakura-chan. Reminiscent of the moment Naruto pierced herself with a kunai during the wave mission, Sakura sighed and handed Naruto a medical kit, saying, here, to keep you safe cause I know you like to get hurt. A lot. When he realized what she was suggesting, Naruto yelled, that was one time, Sakura-chan. Sakura sarcastically agreed with her and nodded. Naruto pretended to cry and approached Kakashi for solace. Kakashi. Sensei, Sakura is being a big meanie to me. Bye Naruto, and I hope you get dreadlocks, Kakashi said with a smile on her face and a ruffle in her hair. Eyeing him, Naruto let out a low growl in her throat. Kakashi casually pulled out his book and laughed. Bye, Dobi. It's not like this training's going to improve your dobbish ways anyway, Sasuke said as he bid Naruto farewell. With homicidal rage painted on her face, Naruto stalked dangerously towards Sasuke. Sasuke grinned. Jiraiya stopped Naruto just before he could launch himself at him. He held a bowl of ramen and said, "Whoa, whoa there, Gaki. Don't start a fight this early in the morning." Jiraiya ate the noodles in front of Naruto while blowing on them. Naruto gazed longingly at the perfectly cooked silken noodles. She gazed down at Jiraiya as though he were her victim. Jiraiya's expression was one of weariness as he noticed Naruto glancing down at him. Are ya gonna eat that, Dabbeo? Jiraiya took another slurp of his noodles and said, "Yup." Looking heartbroken, Naruto said, "But I didn't eat breakfast." "Your problem, Gaki." Naruto ignored Jiraiya's amused smile and cast a somber glance at the ground. He handed her the container behind him and said, "Ha ha ha, Gaki. I had a hunch that this would happen. Good thing I got another two. Go meal." As though he were Jiraiya's savior, Naruto gaped at her. Her strange ramen antics made Team 7 perspire. Jiraiya pulled out a pair of chopsticks and grinned. "Duh. Thank you, Arrow. Senin. You're the best. I think I'm starting to like you." Naruto's mouth trembled. As he walked out the gates, Jiraiya grinned arrogantly and said, "Well, thank you for the humble words, Gaki. Let's go." With the noodles in her hands, Naruto ran. "Yeah," she exclaimed as she departed, giving her team one last wave. Nay, Arrow. Senin. What are you gonna teach me today, Dabbeo?" Jiraiya glanced at her and said, "I thought I told you not to call me that," as he watched the girls playing in the river below. "Come on, Arrow. Senin, isn't it your mission to train me?" complained Naruto. Waving her away, Jiraiya said, Yeah, sure, whatever you say." Naruto pouted, "Arrow. Senin, please. I promise I won't bother you if you teach me the basic steps of what you're gonna teach me." Well, Jiraiya thought, not a bad offer. I must teach her how to use the Kyuubi's chakra, though. Most likely, oh ho ho. Indeed. That I would have 3 days to peep thanks to jutsu. Perhaps even for an entire week. Fine, Gaki. As you wish. Jiraiya got up from his position and made a few hand gestures before using his left hand to pierce the floor. As smoke erupted and a toad emerged from behind it, Naruto gaped. With a croak, the toad extended its tongue and presented Jiraiya with a lengthy scroll. With a nod, Jiraiya said, "Thanks Gama, see ya around." The toad spoke back, "Goodbye Jiraiya. Visit Mount Myoboko sometime. I hear Fukasaku Sama's been missing his old student." Jiraiya smiled and waved him away, saying, Yeah. Go off now, Gama." Gama waved, and he vanished with a puff of smoke. As the toad spoke, Naruto raised an eyebrow and exclaimed, "Wow, that frog can talk." "Not frogs. Toads. And yes, some can talk," Jiraiya said, shaking his head. As Jiraiya unfolded the massive scroll on the ground, Naruto grinned with excitement. The blood-stained signatures in the slots caused Naruto to raise an eyebrow. Jiraiya said, "Okay, this here is a summoning scroll to the Toad contract. I will not lie, this'll probably be one of the most hardest summoning to contain due to the steps it takes to be accepted by the Toads. Even though it is one step, it is hard. The step is to summon the Toad boss, Gamabunta, with a massive amount of chakra. If you get too little chakra, not even a toad will appear. So just try your best and summon all the chakra you got, kiddo." "Wait. You're gonna teach me how to summon those toads?" Naruto cheered. "So how do we summon the Toad boss?" "Here, first you have to sign your name in blood. Then, after that is completed, you give a blood offering to the toads in a line formation and add as much chakra as you can into the scroll. The toads will hear you calling as you say Kachiyose no Jutsu, and if you're worthy, Gamabunta will just appear." He smiled and said, "When can I start?" Jiraiya gave her the scroll and said, "Now." When she bit into her thumb, Naruto winced and laid it out on a straight path. Naruto completed her name in chicken scratch handwriting in a hurry to get it down before her thumb healed. Behind the bushes, Jiraiya was blushing all over and giggling every now and then. Naruto bit her thumb once more, creating a straight line through the sealing scroll as she wiped perspiration down her brow. It was Kachiyose no Jutsu, she exclaimed. Naruto became anxious about what would happen when a big smokescreen appeared. A big tadpole emerged when the smoke cleared. Upon approaching Jiraiya, Naruto exclaimed, "Is this Gamabunta?" Jiraiya narrowed his eyes on her, but turned around. "Whoa. Wasn't expecting that. Though this one'll appear after your 10th try." He sighed, "But this one isn't Gamabunta." Description: Gamabunta is an extremely obese, red frog who wears a black cloak. He also smokes, has a patch over his eye, and uses a tanto. Hope this helps. Naruto gave a mocking nod and pouted as she carried on with her training. Kachiyose no jutsu, she exclaimed, using an uncomfortably high chakra, only to summon the enormous tadpole once more. Naruto repeated her procedure while sobbing in exasperation. Kurama's eyes snapped open, revealing the slit pupils. He narrowed his eyes because the location where he was being held felt strangely familiar. With a startled growl, "Where the heck am I at?" Kurama sat up straight now and heard a sound outside. "Damn it, you have to give it another go." Kurama's eyes widened as he looked at his reflection in the water, alarmed by the familiar voice. His frown deepened as he saw that there was water and bars in front of him. "Is this what I think it is?" Kurama then turned his gaze outside, asking, "Is this the kit's doing? Why is the kit much more puny than before? And why is she trying to summon those stupid frogs? Shouldn't she already have that done?" he asked, hearing Naruto's voice again, veiled in confused thoughts. Shutting his eyes tightly, Kurama saw all the possibilities and sighed as he felt the unsteady balance in the air. "What did you do, Kit?" His thoughts were interrupted, and Kurama felt Naruto's chakra being depleted. When he finally realized what was wrong, he scowled and realized that he had kept some of it in Naruto's time traveling scroll. His eyes widened once more as he realized, time travel. What does that imply? It can't be, he thought in search of a response. I sensed my chakra being fully removed from her body. It simply cannot be. Kurama gritted his teeth and snarled, am I in that person's genjutsu? However, he reasoned, that also can't be. He stopped, resting his head on his paws, and said, or am I really back in the past? I should be merged with the others as the Jubi. He swallowed hard as he saw the Gamma Sennin through Naruto's eyes. I can't believe it, Kurama said, looking past and seeing through what would have been Naruto's eyes. Then that means she must be training with her arrow. Sennin. Was she on the verge of death when she finished and activated the scroll? There doesn't seem to be any genjutsu on this plane. Then why is she faking to show her capabilities by summoning those dumb frogs? He asked, narrowing his eyes as he saw Naruto struggling once more. Unless she is hiding her capabilities or she can't remember. Why can't I see her memories of the war? I only see her genin memories and back, Kurama thought as he looked into Naruto's mind. His eyes widened, and he shouted, his face looking alarmed. These memories are different than her past genin memories. How is this possible? He delved further and noticed a sudden shift in Kakashi's behavior. After putting the pieces together, Kurama finally realized what had happened, that Kakashi, not Naruto, had traveled back in time. He narrowed his eyes and considered the possibility that this location was an alternate universe. Kurama merged his chakra with Naruto's, giving her a tiny portion of his chakra, saying, I'll have to look in more deeper in this, but first, let's give the Gaki what she needs. Jutsu no Kachiyose. Naruto yelled as perspiration trickled down her brow. She gasped in shock at the sensation coming from her left arm and saw the biggest smokescreen she had ever seen. As she waited for the smoke to subside, she felt a sudden wave of anxiety. Then, a loud croak caused Jiraiya's focus to shift from the river to Naruto, and his jaw dropped as he saw what had caught his attention. I can't believe this, he said, his eyes wide. Jiraiya cheered, arrow. Sennin. And Naruto's eyes grew even bigger than hers. Arrow. Sennin. Was I correct? At what she had done, she leapt to her feet. What happened now? Croaked one. Another, sorry, I was very clumsy on my landing. Finally, Jiraiya. Is that you? Why, of all times, did you call me? When Jiraiya saw the great three, Gamakichi, Gamahiro, and Gamaken, he stood as straight as a board and said nothing. Gazing at the toads, Jiraiya exclaimed, Wah! What? And rushed towards them. How can you be real? Please tell me this is just a joke. Jiraiya scowled as she touched Gamabunta's skin. Gamabunta stepped on Jiraiya after a tick mark appeared on his head. Gamabunta turned to face Naruto and said, You, Jiraiya. What have you done? Everything in Mount Moyoboku is messed up. Or was it you, Gaki? He asked. Yikes. I wasn't the one that called you obese, yelled Naruto as he leapt. Obese? Gamabunta asked, narrowing his soul eyes dangerously slowly. Naruto raised her hands to gesture at Jiraiya, and Gamabunta's tick mark deepened. As Gamabunta lifted Naruto, Jiraiya gave him a betrayed look. In reference to the forthcoming all.u.can. Drink. Sake buffet, he remarked. You're lucky that I'm in a good mood today, Jiraiya. Jiraiya writhed in Gamabunta's hold before being flung to the ground. Naruto's face turned red as she suppressed her laughter. Jiraiya-san, do you possibly know the shift of time in the human world? was the first thing Gamahiro said following the violence. A shift of time in the human world? You mean our world? Jiraiya asked, frowning gravely. Did you not notice? Gamaken croaked after nodding. At his summoner, Gamabunta squinted and said, I knew it. It was you, ya unpredictable brat. The enormous toad jumped directly in front of Naruto, who gaped. Gamabunta's foot stopped her as she scurried to her feet. What do ya want, Dadbeo? Gamabunta repeated, Gaki, did you do it? While focusing his sole eye on Naruto. I don't know what I did, yelled Naruto. Gamaken scowled as he pulled Gamabunta and Gamahiro into a conversation. In a low voice, Gamaken said, I don't think they know. In response, Gamahiro muttered, perhaps they didn't do it. Gamabunta hissed, but the great toad sage said someone shifted the time in this world. He said it was someone we had associated with. Gamahiro emphasized, had. Gamaken said, I'm sorry to say this, but I think Jiraiya Sama is calling you, Gamabunta, while Gamabunta glared at him. Gamabunta turned to Jiraiya and asked, what do you want? What do you mean as in shift of time in the human world? Jiraiya scowled. Gamabunta waved his massive pads in front of Jiraiya and said, I don't mean anything by that. It was just a mistake. Nothing, me and the others are still a little tipsy. Then Gamabunta realized, is this when the brat called me for the first time? However, where is the abyss? Gazing at his fellow toads, Gamabunta asked, how did she even call them? After analyzing Gamabunta's bewildered expression, Jiraiya came up with the idea to confront him about this later on. Gamabunta, Gamaken, and Gamahiro were summoned to their homeland at that very moment. Jiraiya stared at Naruto and stood there in disbelief. She smiled and looked back at him, saying, beat that, arrow. Senin. Don't call me that, Gaki, yelled Jiraiya. Whatever, arrow. Senin. But since I summoned those toads, does that mean? Naruto said, placing her arms behind her head. Yeah. Jiraiya looked at the river one last time and sighed. Then he turned and continued walking along the path. Hey, wait up, cried Naruto as he ran up to him, screaming. Tsunade. Sama. WH. Shizune said, but Tsunade cut him off. Tsunade mocked her older appearance by adopting the appearance of a 20-year-old and saying, be quiet, Shizune. We can't let the loan sharks hear you. Tsunade simply didn't want any problems to arise today. The loan shark said, hey, what are you do? But Tsunade silenced him with a light punch that rendered him unconscious. When another loan shark spotted the two, Tsunade's victory was short-lived. There goes the trouble. Tsunade then grinned gleefully, that should do it. You, he exclaimed as he ran, holding a blade in his right hand. Tsunade avoided his blow after spotting easy prey. Besides Tsunade, Shizune acted with the sole intention of defending her master. Shizune cut the loan shark's right tricep with her chakra scalpel. As Tsunade grabbed Shizune and fled, he writhed in agony. When they saw that the two women had just defeated their bosses in a few moves, some other people noticed them but did nothing to stop them. Tsunade. Sama, please don't tell me that you're going to gamble with that money. With a simple smile, Tsunade said to her student, of course I am, Shizune. And I know just the place where. Jiraiya told his pupil, wow, just in time for the festival. Squinting her eyes, Naruto saw the festival appear inside of her with joy. Naruto said to her mentor, dude, I've never been to a place like this before. What are we going to do, Dadbeo? Jiraiya threw open his arms and exclaimed, just the thing you do in festivals. Curving her whiskered birthmarks, Naruto smiled. Then she showed Jiraiya her fat wallet filled with change. This is Gama-chan, she exclaimed, taking the toad in her hand and stroking it with her cheek. Seeing an opening, Jiraiya removed the toad from her grasp. Wah! What are ya doing, arrow? Senin. Jiraiya merely gave Naruto a small wad of cash while lecturing her and clicking his tongue. Remember the 3 taboos from now on, Gaki, he said to her. Rebelliously, Naruto gritted her teeth and said, I don't even. Just keep a toad with you, Naruto. I'll contact you when it's time to meet up again. Jiraiya interrupted her by turning around and waving his hand. Oh, and here is my backpack, hold it for now. Because you know what they say, holding your master's backpack. He said with a bewildered expression as he handed Naruto his backpack, asking, keeps the perverts away? In response, Naruto said, but you're the only pervert around. Jiraiya grinned and said, not pervert, super pervert. He went on to say, see, The backpack works like magic. He then stalked off to the best brothel in town. She stopped considering what he was going to do as Naruto chuckled and glared at the back of his head. That pervert's gonna, she said. She went to the food stands, shivering. Naruto was shocked by the bustling crowd outside a nearby gambling establishment after using nearly all of the money Jiraiya had given her. Huh? What's happening there? The crowd let out a scream. Is it a fight? Naruto asked herself as her eyes widened and she grinned broadly. Naruto grinned at the vibrancy of the gambling establishment as he wriggled inside. Then she noticed what everyone was focusing on. A large, tanned man and a blonde woman were playing poker. Tsunade. Sama. Please don't gamble off of what's left of money you have with you. We still need to pay off our debts to the other loans, said a woman holding a pig as Naruto looked around the crowd. Ignoring her, Tsunade carried on with her game. With a slight frown, Naruto asked herself, Tsunade? Arrow. Sennin was referring to the old hag's name, right? Jiraiya also mentioned that she has multiple disguises that have altered her appearance, which Naruto realized at that point. Naruto was shocked to discover Tsunade just 2 days after departing Konoha. When the big tan guy finally prevailed after a few minutes, he asked, who wants to get beaten next? No one in the neighborhood of the house spoke. Tsunade, who was beside him fuming with rage, laughed cockily as the big tan guy said, fine, ya losers. Be cowards while I soak into my cash. Shizune was aware that her master still desired to beat the man at poker, but that would be futile given their lack of funds and Tsunade's inexperience with gambling. Taunton became a little concerned for Shizune as she lowered her chin onto his head. Tsunade gritted her teeth and held her fingers to her palms. When Naruto eventually broke through the crowd, he exclaimed, hey, fat lump. What did ya say, little girl? The large, tanned man asked, narrowing his eyes to the source of the nickname. The name's Naruto and I want to gamble with you, Datbeo. Naruto grinned, a hint of arrogance visible on her face. Don't ya think that a little too young to be playing poker with the adults? The large, tanned man asked Naruto, grinning dangerously. And she yelled at the bewildered crowd, shut up. The day I got this head protector was the day I became an adult. 'Cause I'll be Hokage one day. Hokage? Tsunade asked, turning to face the chaos. Shizune's eyes grew wide as she remembered her uncle. Tsunade. Sama? Why would a Konoha shinobi be here? Tsunade sat on a nearby chair and shook her head. Let's see how this will all play out. I want to see if that brat even has a chance. The large man smirked at Naruto and said, all right, tell ya what, brat. I'll put in all my money for all your money. Deal. As he and the rest of the crowd burst out laughing. 140 Ryu. Underestimating her, Naruto grinned at him and said, deal. That was what I was hoping for anyways. After exchanging handshakes, the cards were handed out. The big tan guy shouted, straight flush, with a gleeful laugh after picking up his final card. It's true, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5 clover, the poker dealer said, wide-eyed as he surveyed the high. Then, guys' vehicles. Everyone watching the two players whispered that Naruto would lose because the elder of the two was certain to win. Naruto slid her next card with a slight smile on her face. The large, tanned man squinted at her actions. Royal flush. Naruto yelled as she slammed her cards onto the green table. The gamble house's walls fell silent for a long moment before the large, tanned man yelled, you're lying, little kid. Try me, loser. Or are you just so much a coward that finding out that a little girl beat your thick butt up will break your already non-existent ego? Naruto replied to him with the words. He was laughed at by the crowd. Tsunade scowled at the young girl who had just given her a partial beating. Shizune and Tsunade both grinned and burst out laughing. The large, tanned man instructed the dealer to look for Naruto's defects. The dealer exclaimed, it's true. A royal flush, as his eyes widened even more. The entire crowd then cheered for Naruto as the dealer revealed the cards to them. That's a lie. You cheated, he yelled, shaking doubtfully as he gestured to Naruto. With a serious expression on her face, Naruto said, Humph, you just can't get over the fact that I beat you up, Datbeo, and everyone, oohed. Oohhs were now directed at the big tan guy. Fight! The crowd yelled, repeatedly saying the same word until the bug-tan guy took the first swing. Tsunade. Sama, should we help her? Actually, we need to stop this fight before things get out of hand. Shizune stood up, her eyes widening anxiously as she addressed Tsunade. No Shizune, Tsunade said, shaking her head. Didn't that same little girl call herself an adult? Having the same dream as them? Tsunade took her hand. Biting her lip, Shizune said, Tsunade, Sama. After shaking her head, Tsunade lowered Shizune back into the chair. Let's just see how this plays out. I mean, we can't underestimate her now after her royal flush. Shizune petted Taunton and gave her master a feeble smile. Naruto avoided the initial blow that was intended to be delivered to her. The large, tanned man attempted to kick her, but was stopped by a hand. He noticed that there were now 8 Narutos when he looked up. The entire audience applauded Naruto. Then, in a stance foreshadowed by a kick, the Narutos leapt upward. One syllable was said by nearly all of the clones that came after the first one. Ooze, U, Ma, Ki, Na, Ru, Tu, Renden. The final knockout blow that Naruto delivered shocked everyone watching the fight. There was silence in the room until someone clapped and then someone else did the same. In a matter of seconds, the entire room began applauding Naruto's triumph. Naruto's face lit up with a smile. She was embarrassed and raised her right hand to scratch the back of her head. Everyone chuckled, and some even gave her praise. The crowd eventually thinned out, leaving the gambling establishment peacefully empty. Naruto heard a firm yet feminine voice say, Oi, Gaki. When Naruto turned around, she saw another unidentified woman and the person she was meant to retrieve. That's a lot of money you got there. Sure is, Dadbeo. Don't say it, Tsunade. Sama, Shizune scowled. As she walked out the doorway, Tsunade scowled and said, TCH, Shizune. I just wanted to say thank you. Naruto bit her lip and said, Wait, why? As Naruto approached her, Tsunade turned around and said, Nothing much, brat, just for beating up that brute. But one word of advice, give up that dream of yours. She kept thinking about Dan and Nawaki. That's when Naruto became enraged and said, Nah, ya old hag. Tsunade's murderous intent made Shizune scream. Despite the fact that the Ki was meant for Naruto, the room was filled with a sinister aura. Naruto resisted the murderer's intentions until they ceased. When Tsunade said, The next time you make me angry, I'll be using my pinky to beat you up, Gaki, she had a perplexed expression on her face. Your pinky? How, aren't you just an old granny? Tsunade punched the floor in Naruto's direction, saying, That's it. Naruto yelled obscenities at Tsunade. To avoid further physical harm, Shizune held Tsunade in place and dragged her in the opposite direction just as she was ready to approach Naruto. My gambling house, exclaimed the house's owner. She glanced at the tiny toad on her palm and said, Now go and follow them, Gama.san. Oh, and make sure to not get caught or anything, K. As Naruto smirked as he struggled from the rubble. I guess the old hag also underestimated me, huh, Gama.san. With a croak of agreement, the little toad hurried over to the pair of medics. With a sigh, Naruto got up and trudged along with her white-haired mentor's backpack and her now, full of cash. She said to herself, maybe I'll get some more food. Jiraiya and the 3 girls around him laughed. Jiraiya saw girls he had never seen before, as he had never been to this brothel before. Sample was always the best option. Jiraiya's laughter ceased, and he recalled his other mission issue. Hey, girls? Have you ever seen an overly developed female maybe at her early to mid-20s? He then asked the women. Go on, said one girl. Blonde hair, hazel eyes. Oh, and a green kimono top that has the kanji of gamble on the back. She also goes around with her pupil who is the complete opposite of her. And I think they have a small pig or animal of sort. Hey, the people you're talking about are ladies, right? Asked a young brunette. Jiraiya gave a nod. The same brunette said sexily, then why are you talking about other women when you have us? After Jiraiya had finished laughing aloud, a recognizable voice exclaimed, You arrow. Senin. You just broke all of the shinobi taboos. Naruto turned to face Jiraiya and said, Gama-chan. What have you done to my Ganma-chan? Naruto gave Jiraiya a scowl. Jiraiya gave her a sheepish smile before a loud voice said, Ladies, let's get on to it or else we'll attack. Jiraiya and Naruto turned to face the doorway, where they saw a small group of 5 people carrying 2 sharp slasher knives. Jiraiya had an angry expression on her face as Naruto looked up at her. Behind him, the women who had previously hosted Jiraiya were now trembling in terror. And what would you mean by that, little man? Jiraiya asked the small group while remaining composed. With his knife aimed directly at Jiraiya's face, the group leader said, Looky here, boys. This old guy thinks he can beat us up. Just as Naruto was about to attack the leader, Jiraiya restrained her and whispered in her ear, "Just wait, Naruto. I'll take care of these wimps." The gang could hear Jiraiya's voice. "Who are you calling wimps?" a gang member questioned. Until the leader finally lost his temper and staggered in Jiraiya's direction, Jiraiya chose to ignore him. Grinning, Jiraiya flung the leader onto his followers, causing them to fall to the ground. "You will learn to respect your elders from this." After that, Jiraiya shaped a perfectly round blue sphere and pushed his right palm into the group, knocking them all out cold. As Naruto gazed at Jiraiya, a sudden respect for her developed. She gave him a bright smile and said, "Nay, Arrow. Sennin. You used a really cool technique there, Dadbeo." Jiraiya burst out laughing, saying, "Of course." At that moment, Naruto at last recalled the previous events. "Hey, Arrow. Sennin. I located that elderly grandmother." Jiraiya's eyes grew wide. "So, Gaki, why are you here? How come you didn't bring her?" "She kind of beat me up first of all, but I made that tiny frog you gave me follow her," Naruto said, grinning as she shook her head. Jiraiya burst out laughing once more, saying, "Gaki, I knew I could count on you." He then gave her a perplexed look and said, "Wait, how did you get so smart?" When Naruto recalled her own Gamma-chan, her smile wavered. "Kakashi Sensei taught me to look underneath the underneath and tracking. I didn't know that I would use tracking so early." "You, Arg. Gamma-chan. You're still whining about that?" Jiraiya shook his head and said, "Never mind, you're still dumb." "Obviously. How many D ranks did I have to finish to fill Gamma-chan up, do you know?" "A lot?" After throwing Jiraiya's backpack to the ground, Naruto said, "Exactly, Arrow. Sennin." Jiraiya grinned as she felt the weight of her own backpack. "What a weird child. One second she throws a tantrum, and the next she looks like the devil," Jiraiya said, observing her facial expressions strangely. Jiraiya's eyes glowed as Naruto opened her backpack and said, "These are my winnings." With more than enough cash in the backpack to purchase 3 large homes, Jiraiya gazed at the stacks upon stacks of stuff inside. "Gaki, what were you doing while I was here?" "Playing poker, Arrow. Sennin. Are you proficient in poker?" "Yes. Furthermore, I can win without even cheating. I simply prevail regardless of the cause." "And I assume that's how you got to know Tsunade?" "HMM. I was playing this stupid fake, not really playing her. That guy underestimated me," she said, laughing menacingly, "but the best part was that I only gambled in something 100 Ryu while he gambled in his entire profit. Even though he attempted to beat me, I was the one who knocked him off his feet." "Yeah, Gaki," Jiraiya said clumsily, sweating. "How about we go find Tsunade now?" Naruto nodded in agreement as he loaded Gamma-chan with cash. Sakura and Sasuke both scowled as Kakashi sighed for the 17th time that day, saying, "Kakashi Sensei, what's the matter? That must have been your 55th sigh of the day." After giving Sakura a quick glance, Kakashi remarked, "You'll understand when you're older." Sakura and Sasuke both arched an eyebrow. "Will this impact our training?" Sasuke asked, turning to face Kakashi. When Kakashi sighed once more, Sakura narrowed her eyes. "Kakashi Sensei, do you have depression?" "What?" Kakashi turned back to Sakura. As a remedy, she considered asking, "Do you need a therapist?" "I've been reading some medic books in the library and you seem to be depressed." "TCH, said Sasuke, narrowing his eyes. "Our training will be impacted by this." "No," Kakashi said languidly, shaking his head, "we'll just go on missions today." While Sakura publicly complained, Sasuke kept his mouth shut. "Wait, Kakashi Sensei, shouldn't we wait for Naruto to return before starting missions again?" When Naruto's name was mentioned, Kakashi suppressed a sigh. "Nope," he said cheerfully, grinning, "let's do some D ranks." Sakura grumbled, "I wish Naruto was here to convince you otherwise, Kakashi Sensei," as Sasuke was about to lose his temper. Kakashi let out a final sigh at the mention of Naruto's name. Jiraiya gestured to Naruto and pointed to the two individuals, saying, "There they are, Gaki. Arrow. Sennin, I understand. Dadbeo," Naruto whispered back, "I'm not blind." Tsunade interrupted Jiraiya as she was about to slap her head, saying, "Shizune, I think someone is following us. A freak. Let's leave this place, Gaki." Jiraiya was concerned. "I feel like I'll be getting it if she sees me now." Shizune nodded as both women hanged into looking in their 80s, and Naruto nodded until Tsunade said, "It's more people I owe." Someone shouted, Hey, you two. With weakness, Tsunade turned around and said, yes, Sonny? Have you seen two women with a pie? Wait a minuet. Quickly, Shizune knocked the man unconscious and said, phew, that was a close one, Tsunade. Sama. He wasn't the one I was sensing, Shizune. Tsunade scowled. Shizune scowled as they retaliated. It was the two behind those bushes. Tsunade gestured to the bushes to her left. Jiraiya waved his hand and said, hey, Tsunade. Hime, as he and Naruto emerged from the ruffled bushes. Shizune and Taunton. Tsunade's eyes grew wide. You. It was you who thrashed that brute. I knew there was something strange about you, you brat, she said, gesturing to Naruto, who waved back at her with a bright smile. No Konoha shinobi would be wandering around freely during a festival for no reason. Whatever, Ba-chan, said Naruto in a demeaning manner. I believed I warned you that I would destroy you the next time I heard you refer to me in that way. Tsunade added, with only my pinky, after cracking her knuckles. Jiraiya put his hand over her mouth and whispered in her ear, shut up, Gaki, as Naruto snorted. I don't want to return to Konoha with a corpse. All right, let's just get to the point, Tsunade, Naruto said, glaring at him but remaining silent. You are needed in Konoha, Jiraiya said. Rolling her eyes, Tsunade said, peeved, like I've never heard that before. This time, Tsunade, it's Sarutobi Sensei who is begging. I'm not sure what he needs you for, but I believe it's something significant. Really? This situation keeps coming up. I'm being serious, Tsunade. You know, they wouldn't approve of what you're doing if they were still here. That was Tsunade's final straw. I'm done with Konoha, Jiraiya. You ought to understand why I did better than most. Tsunade and Shizune walked away after saying, I was done with Konoha when? And shaking her head angrily. I'm not coming back anytime soon. Well, that went well, remarked Naruto mockingly. Considering what Hiruzen had whispered to him that day, Jiraiya shook his head and said, no, I feel like Sarutobi Sensei wants me to finish this mission no matter what. Sensei did say that Tsunade would be great support for the future. But why? What am I missing? Jiraiya asked himself. Naruto questioned aloud. I don't know how that woman doesn't even sense Gamma.san yet. Jiraiya answered her question. That's cause Gamma.san has such little chakra, even less than your average civilian, that even feels non-existent at times. He sighed, I just don't know how I'll persuade her to come back. Naruto, Jiraiya remarked, let's finish up our training. Really, truly, yes. Today, I will teach you about the Rasengan. The Rasengan? Naruto inquired. Yes. I hit those thugs with that blue sphere, do you remember? Oh, indeed. Are you going to teach me that, I wonder? Because if you are, did I ever tell you that you are the best arrow Senin ever? Naruto said with a hopeful expression. Despite rolling his eyes, Jiraiya grinned and said, thanks, Gaki. Well, I must also tell you one thing, he said, waiting for Naruto to nod. This technique was developed by the Yondaime himself. Naruto, this technique is only known and mastered by a select few. Jiraiya simply nodded his head wisely. You just remind me of the Yondaime, and Naruto looked in awe and inspiration at the mention of her favorite Hokage's name. Gaki, I believe you have the potential as well. When Naruto threw Jiraiya into a bear hug, her face literally split in two. Thanks, Arrow Senin. You are the greatest. He chuckled and said, I've already been told that today, Gaki. The lair of Orochimaru, Kabuto, Orochimaru growled. Did you notice anything noteworthy happening in Konoha at the moment? Well, I heard Jiraiya, Sama and another little brat are going to find Tsunade. Sama for the purposes of Konoha, Kabuto said with a menacing smile to his master. I think they might be able to win her back. Do you really think that idiot is going to get Tsunade? Orochimaru chuckled. This could get interesting, he said with a sly smile. Kabuto grinned more broadly and said, Jiraiya, Sama isn't the only fascinating topic. I've heard that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki is the brat he's pursuing. Really? This might be like killing two birds with one stone, Orochimaru thought aloud. Orochimaru. Sama. How so? Why don't we foil this ruse if Konoha is in such dire need of Tsunade? We can murder or even abduct Jiraiya's apprentice and Tsunade. Yes, Kabuto said anxiously, but wouldn't the two other Sanins be in danger? Additionally, there's a chance that the Kyuubi container will come loose. Don't have faith in my strength, I see? Orochimaru said, closing his eyes. Scowling, Kabuto said, no, it's not that. Fine then, we'll head in 3 days.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.